No one even had to remind me. That's never
I
happened.
was ready.
Yeah, it's never happened before. Uh, you really don't want to see all my work documents. That's torture to me, much less to anybody else. Okay, it is 7:35. I'm going to convene this May 21. Oh, is Barbara here?
Yeah, she's here.
Okay, great. It is
I'm here.
thanks, Barbara. It is May 21, 7:35 p.m. This convenes this meeting of the Coral Springs Charter School Band Boosters, Inc. uh, board. And this is kind of a different meeting. Welcome to everyone who came out. Thank you very much in advance for your time. Um, this is a different meeting because this is our annual organizational meeting. So we do one thing we don't usually do, which is we vote in the executive members for the following year. So we'll cover that a little bit later. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about what the boosters is. You already know that. I promise it won't be long, but I think in the very beginning, I didn't understand some of that. So I'm going to go over it just if it's helpful to anyone who doesn't already know. First order of business is to approve the last meeting's minutes. I move that the minutes of the April meeting be approved. Anybody second?
I second. Go ahead, I second.
Hearing no opposition, that's passed. All right. So we are the Coral Springs Charter School Band Boosters, Inc. That's really a mouthful. I didn't pick it. I guess it's a good description, though. It kind of says it all in one word. We are a 501c3 corporation, which means under the tax code, we're a nonprofit entity. That comes with some benefits. Sometimes we can buy things and not have to pay taxes. Drawbacks, of course, is that there are some financial obligations. We make sure that there's no profit, meaning no payments to the owners. None of the board members, by the way, are compensated, or the board executive members. We're all volunteers. The objective of this organization is to raise money and to spend it on the organizational mission, which is the kids. I'm going to share screen for just a moment here. As soon as I find that again. All right. The organization is appropriately registered with the Florida Division of Corporations. If you go to sunbiz.org, you'll see this annual report that gets filed every year. The organization has a constitution and bylaws, just sort of the rules of the organization, who we are, what we do, the mission statement, the rules for elections, the things we're doing tonight. And there's some language in there that's required for tax reasons for nonprofits. So we make sure all that's in there so that we're doing it the right way. By the way, the bylaws, tax filings, the minutes of meetings, those are all among the corporate records of the entity, which are available on the Booster Drive. I believe there is a link to that on the Booster website. If there is not, we're going to make that happen very soon because we operate in the sunshine here, being in Florida, and that's just the right policy. There's no reason anybody who wants to know what's going on shouldn't know. And frankly, that helps us get you all involved, knowing what's going on. Let's see. We file tax returns like any other corporation. That is taken care of. Once a year, we hold an organizational meeting. Once a year, we hold a budget meeting. That usually comes in September, and of course, that'll be September of this year. So that'll be later. The mission of the organization, from the articles, the purpose is to bring together band parents and interested persons to augment, support, and promote the Coral Springs Charter School Band programs. Okay, so, we do everything we can to make the program better for the kids. That the money that's raised gets used to help pay for instruments, instrument repairs, trips, fun things for the kids to get to do, guest teachers who come in and help the kids improve their skills. Essentially anything and everything the school doesn't or won't pay for. And we also literally provide the manpower because David and Stephanie are just two people. And the events take hands, and we provide the hands to get things done, from tickets to props and all of that. As I indicated, these are volunteer positions. No one on the board is compensated. The members of the boosters are all of you. The executive members are what we sometimes call the board members with titles. And those are also, we just shorthand them as the boosters, but technically the members are all of you. We have a president, a vice president. Those roles are kind of obvious. We have a treasurer, an assistant treasurer, a secretary of finance, and a digital finance coordinator. Nowadays, you know, so much of handling income has to do with different revenue streams through PayPal, through Charms, and all of that takes extra folks to be able to handle all of it. We have a secretary who keeps our minutes and keeps track of the votes and everything we're doing. We have a volunteer coordinator, self-explanatory, a digital coordinator who helps us stay current with the website and social media reporting. And we have members at large who are ready to jump in whenever something has to be done that doesn't fall within somebody's prescribed responsibilities. As I mentioned, this is the organizational meeting. If I were to try to summarize the last year, I don't really have much to present except to say it was a good year. We didn't have any broken bones. The kids got to all their shows, no major catastrophes. I think the program's moving in the right direction. We're very lucky to have Mr. Cardona and Ms. Ayton and their leadership and dedication. Every year, I think things are improving a little bit. That comes with stability and dedication and a lot of work, but we're moving in the right direction. Financially, we were in the black. We will have an annual report closing out the year in the next monthly meeting. Veronica, our treasurer, will report on that, or perhaps she'll do so as the assistant then, seeing how tonight's vote goes. But I think we're moving in the right direction, and it was a good year. As I mentioned, we'll have a recap of the year and a final report in the next meeting. Veronica, if you're here, can you just give us a recap on where we are right now financially? Or,
You're here. I know she messaged that she was under the weather.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay, very good.
Yeah. So she does plan to send out those final numbers, like you said, next month.
All right. And we will publish some form of that and then discuss it in the next meeting. Christine, can you give us a report on where we are with Charms? Hi, Christine.
Hi, from the car. Where we are with Charms. We just got, we've been working on a little bit of reports to kind of close out the year. So what we really need to do is work towards that. We like to have it done by right around now. We do still have like a few things that are outstanding from fair shares. But overall, we did really well this year, and I just cleared up a couple others. So if you've seen an email come in, asking about that as a parent, or I'm working with Ms. Ayton or Mr. Cardona, if you've reached out to them. So I think we're almost ready to wrap that up. Do you want me to make mention of the cut time transition right now?
Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, so essentially, I think what we're going to have to do, so Charms is phasing out. It's not going to exist anymore. It's been purchased by a company called Cut Time. And I think it's going to be a really great transition and hopefully a really good, a better product for us, more modern. We've looked into it, and the good thing is what we found out is that we can transition to Cut Time, and they're gonna I guess it's part of the process of them taking over Charms, is that they're going to do a transition process for us. Then all of that data will be, we close out the year. Remember, Jim and I, we closed out the year last time, so we'll close out the year as far as like financials. Then we will transition to the new Cut Time system, because our license doesn't expire until September. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start using it for marching band, see what happens over the summer, make sure we like it. And we have a final decision before our license expires in mid-September. So we'll either be continuing with cut time, or if we for some reason don't like it and don't want to continue with it, then we would have to transition to something different to help manage some of our payments. And like Jim had referenced, you know, right now we're getting a lot of things in different ways. Sometimes it's cash, sometimes it's Charms direct payments, and now we're taking Zelle, and we still have PayPal as an option. So we're going to see how that all nets out. But we're going to start with marching band, and I'm making the suggestion that we, you know, be a little flexible with those dates. So Mr. Cardone, I know you were talking about updating everyone if we, you know, we had deadlines in place, but we don't have it set up in Charms yet. And that's due to us trying to end the fiscal year or the school year out in Charms before we start taking new payments. But we will be doing that soon. So unless he has something to add on it, I guess more to come via email when we confirm, you know, how those payments are going to be taken, because what we might do is transition to cut time and then start using that and use this marching band season as our true test subjects. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, let me ask you, with the transition to cut time, do we have to pay money, more money than we've already paid between now and September, or does that come?
No.
That comes with the license we already own?
Right. So the email that we received from them was kind of confirming when our renewal date or expiration date of our 3-year term was. So that transitions over to cut time. So I think it makes sense for us to at least try it out, and then
Sure.
not be starting from fresh and then having to go back to cut time. This will allow us to just transition whatever that looks like. Maybe some of the student data carries over, you know, I'm not sure yet. So when we do that, then we'll be able to hopefully get started with the new platform, and we can still take payments in other ways, like we said, via Zelle or PayPal, because that's not necessarily changing just yet.
So it sounds like we'll have a few months of a trial, a free trial, before we have to decide whether to
Yes.
buy a cut time license. Great. That makes great sense. That makes great sense.
Okay.
All right. Let us move on to the business at hand, which is the election of officers. So the process is that the floor is open during this meeting for anyone to nominate anyone for any position among the executive boards. I wrote off the positions earlier. However, in a cooperative spirit, and to keep this sort of easy, we also discuss among ourselves and with some of you, people who are willing to fill roles. A lot of folks are coming back from a prior year and they'll stay in their role, or they're willing to stay in their role. And if we end up with a slate of nominations where there's one nominee per position, we can vote on that slate, and then that becomes the new executive board. But understand, the floor is open. If someone objects to a nomination and wants to nominate someone else, then we'll have a vote off between the persons nominated and the persons on the slate. And in that case, we'll just have additional voting and see how it works out. But unless there are other nominations, we can have a single vote on the slate. I'm going to put the slate up in a share screen in just a moment. One of my awesome powers as the president is I get to decide the voting process. I've given this a lot of thought, some sleepless nights. I think we'll just raise hands. I think so. So that's the method we'll use for voting, and we'll all look on our screens and see if we agree if there's a majority of those present in favor of whatever is being voted on. When we're done, I'll announce the outcome and our first order of business. But let me now go back to share screen and put the slate up for proposed executive board members for the next year. All right, that's not it. Here we go. The slate of proposed executive board members, 2024-25. I've agreed to come back and do this again if you guys will have me as president. Jody has agreed to come back as my vice president, and I'm very grateful for that. Treasurer. So we're going to lose a little bit of Veronica's help. Her son graduated. She doesn't have a child in band anymore, but she is still willing to help out. Treasurer is kind of a demanding job. We're lucky that Charmaine Mentis has a background in bookkeeping and accounting, and she stepped up and offered to fulfill the role as treasurer. So she is slated for nomination. Veronica agreed to stay on as the assistant treasurer, so she'll be assisting Charmaine, but also easing the transition into Charmaine learning the job, Veronica being there as well. So they'll be doing it together with the goal toward Charmaine being independent next year. And if Veronica doesn't want to come back and keep helping, then she'll have that freedom and won't feel so guilty. Coming back as Secretary of Finance, we have Christine Parkinson. She does a great job. There's a lot of work involved there, and she's right on top of things with the reports, as you just heard. The Digital Finance Coordinator was Charmaine Mentis's job. With Charmaine moving up to treasurer, that opened up, and we're very lucky. Joanna Rodriguez and Alex Rodriguez have both agreed to join the board, and Joanna to fill the role as Digital Finance Coordinator. The Digital Finance Coordinator helps keep track of the income streams and works with Christine on the charms or cut time, and just helping us keep the accounting straight, mostly on the income streams, because that's all mostly digital these days, except for some cash. Coming back as secretary, we have Barbara Goby. Barbara's done a great job. Volunteer coordinator, we lost Ali Guevara. She's moving to Georgia, and the commute is just too much. I tried to make her do it. So in her absence, Rachel George agreed to step up and take over that role, so she is nominated. As digital coordinator, we have Rory Zambrano coming back. Rory did it last year. Rory was instrumental in getting the website up and going, along with Beatrice and some others, and maintaining it and all the social media reporting. He knows all those words and acronyms that I don't know, and he's very good at that job. We're glad to have his services. Members at large, like I said, those are board members who are ready to jump in when there's a need, and they help out with other stuff. We'll have Gania Khalil coming back. Although her daughter will no longer be at the school, she's still qualified to be on the board. She's agreed to give her time, and we're glad to have her help. We'll have Beatrice Quies back, Krista Gold also back, Janine Cruz, and joining the board, Alex Rodriguez. So that is the slate of proposed nominees. At this point, the floor is open. Does anyone wish to nominate a different person for any of these available positions? All right, hearing none, I'm going to put up for a vote at this time. I'm going to close the share screen so we can see each other's faces. Those of you who are eligible to vote, not Stephanie or David, please turn on your cameras so we can see your vote. And let me close the share screen. All right, at this time, I move that the slate be approved and that we have the vote at this time. Candace, Vanessa, Amy, Beatrice, we have to have a quorum of at least 11. So if you folks can turn on your camera so I can see your vote, that would be great. Hi, Ginny.
You made a motion?
I made a motion, but I'm waiting for a couple cameras to come on before we actually have the vote. Can Amy and Vanessa turn on your cameras if that's possible? Maybe it's not. All right, we still have over 11. So at this time, I'd like to see who votes in favor of the slate that's been proposed. Can I have a show of hands? All right, by my math, that is a majority of those voting. Thank you very much. All right, congratulations. We accomplished one of the year's biggest tasks. We voted in a new board. First order of business as practice, as promised. Right after the meeting, we're going to plan a happy hour. See? Don't you wish you were there now? And by the way, it's open to anybody. So if you want to be there, send us a note and you can be invited too. But we'll do that after the close of the meeting. that's all the business I'm aware of from the agenda. David, did you want to speak about anything going on with the program or upcoming events? I just don't want to end without offering you the opportunity.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. Good evening, everyone. I'll just mention maybe a few quick things. We're pretty much done with most performances. I know we have graduation and 8th grade transition, but that's very minor compared to, the majority of the events that we've gotten through over the last few weeks. So we have a few performances, but right now we're kind of wrapping up the year, and there's a few important things. If your child is going to be renting an instrument from the school for the summer, so they can keep playing, so they are still in shape for the fall. Or if they're going to be in marching band and they need a school-owned instrument, they need to make sure that that rental is paid for ASAP. Otherwise, we're going to start collecting instruments back just to make sure we put it back into our inventory or send it off to get repaired as necessary. But if you're planning on utilizing a school-owned instrument, we need to pay for those rentals very, very soon. If there's any issue with payment, just at least communicate so we can work something out. Otherwise, we will take the instrument, and things are going to look a little bit weird over the next few weeks because my last day is actually the 29th. I will be there the 30th, but that day we have a graduation rehearsal, so I won't be on campus. And then the 31st, I leave for a few weeks for an Army training. And Ms. Aiton will be there for the last few weeks, but she's going to be in charge of the instruments as well as working out, setting up the band room for the summer. And she has her own things to do as well, including closing grades, right? If you have any questions, concerns, something to do with instruments or even grades, whatever it might be, please communicate as soon as you can and take care of that. Other than that, I think we're pretty much wrapped up. I already started rookie camp this week with the students who are first year marching band members and also the the officers who are teaching them. And we're pretty much done with marching band after this week until the July camp, which starts on July 22nd. So there will be a separate email with some information that the students need to know about. But just know that July 22nd until August 2nd, not including Saturday and Sunday, is going to be the camp. And the students should definitely start preparing for that camp because, as you all know, it's hot. It's a really long camp. The students do have a chance to eat and get rest and drink water, of course, but we don't want anyone to get hurt out there. So I'm going to talk to the students this week on Friday when we have our meeting, but I hope that you can encourage them to get in shape and stay in shape over the summer, to be active, sometimes in the sun, right? Wear sunscreen, but it's good to kind of acclimate yourself to being in that hot weather. And of course, make sure that we're eating nutritious meals, make sure we're consuming electrolytes, and make sure we're drinking a lot of water as we prepare for that. It's not something that you can prepare for 3 days before the camp. It's something that you should be preparing for like 2 months into the camp. And as you all know, I'm in the Army. I see people my age that are in shape and they don't, work out or do anything active, and they go to our drills and they start passing out. And when I go to band camp, I see the same things from students. So just to make sure we're all safe, and we can have a productive camp, I hope that you can encourage the students and members to just kind of stay in shape, stay on top of what they're eating and drinking. And I think we'll have a very successful start off to the year when we have our 2-week-long camp. And I think that's it for major announcements. I guess last thing I'll do is just thank you all for a fantastic year. I think it's been a really productive year for the band program across all levels. And it's just been a pleasure to serve as my 5th year here at Coral Springs Charter. Ms. Aiton, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I'll echo that sentiment. It was a fantastic year. It was such a blessing to be part of this family. I just posted the wish list in the chat that we hopefully you all can see and share with everybody else. I'll be emailing it out as well. Our wish list for the summer and for the future. Really, really important, especially for marching bands. So please feel free to hop on that. Remember, you can get some service credit for that. And it's been an amazing year. I really appreciate everybody's time and effort.
All right. Well, thank you. I think that concludes our business for this annual organizational meeting. Thank you everyone again for coming out. Congratulations on getting the new slate of executive members in place so the business can go forward. And let's all, I don't know, let's enjoy the rest of our evenings. Current executive members, please stay in the meeting. Please stay on the Zoom so we can talk about a happy hour. All right, and that closes this meeting. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to turn off the recorder.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks again, everybody.